The deadly protests in Iran rage on for the 11th consecutive day. Dozens have been killed. People are taken to the streets around the world, including here in the U.S., in protest of the death of Mahsa Amini in morality police custody. Earlier, I was joined by counterterrorism expert author Cynthia Farahat for what she had to say. Yeah, first, let's provide our viewers with some context. What are your ties to Iran and the Iranian regime?
I absolutely have no ties to Iran or the Iranian regime, except that I understand what it feels like to be an oppressed, subjugated hostage under tyrannical dictatorship. I lived the vast majority of my life under President Hosni Mubarak's oppressive police state in Egypt, and I was under constant 24-hour surveillance for almost a decade. So I know how these people feel, and that is my tie. And I studied the theology and the history and the political ideology of the mullahs.
Yeah, you were under a very oppressive regime in Egypt. You could speak firsthand what they're dealing with in Iran right now. But now you live in America. You're an American. How does what is happening in Iran affect us here in the U.S.?
It affects us tremendously in the U.S. This is one of the worst tragedies of U.S. foreign policies. It's exactly what happened in 2015. It's not a coincidence that there was a green revolution in 2015 when President Barack Obama's regime was attempting to legitimize the mullahs through the Iran deal. And it's also not a coincidence that people are revolting now when President Joe Biden's regime is trying to do the same. The Iranian people are sending a message to the world. You are either on our side or the side of the eschatological mass murderers who are in power. And unfortunately, we in America are not picking the right side.
Yeah, this is a big question. Why is this administration continuing nuclear deal talks with Iran?
Well, that's a very important question, and I try to answer it in so many different ways. And the only answer I could really stand by is that they believe that the enemy of my enemy is my friend. They do not view Western civilization as an ally. They do not view the United States Constitution as something that should continue to be upheld. And that's why they are allying with Iran. That's my opinion and analysis, because I can't possibly find any reasonable explanation to give nuclear weapons to a regime that literally said that it's their mission to bring about the end of times.
Yeah, what is Biden doing about this brutal repression? Now, he said he stands with the protesters, but what is he doing that's actually going to help?
He's not doing anything. He's doing a lot to actually cause a lot of devastation and almost to guarantee a mass massacre for the protesters. What he is doing is he's continuing the Iranian deal talks while making empty statements. So his actions are what matters, not his statements.
Yeah, exactly.
They absolutely have no weight to them.
Go ahead.
It's just that he can say anything on earth, but his behavioral pattern is what speaks for itself.
Yeah, it seems like the sanctions on the morality police and trying to restore communications to the protesters, that's not nearly enough when you look at the $50 billion going to Ukraine. Why is Iran not worthy?
Exactly. And why isn't he? They're not even talking about the lunatics in the Iranian regime the same way they talk about Putin. Why aren't they talking about a regime that said they're going to turn New York City into a wasteland? They said that.
Yeah, speaking of New York City, Iranians call their president a murderer, a Holocaust denier. Abraham Raisi has also threatened to assassinate high-profile Americans like Donald Trump. Yet the current administration comes and welcomes Raisi to New York last week with open arms to address the General Assembly. So what is happening here in the U.S. for our administration to be okay with that?
They're basically telling them, if you want to kill Republicans, we're gonna give you billions of dollars. That's the message. I can't see it any other way. Oh, you can assassinate Republicans and we'll reward you for it. It's horrific, treasonous, and atrocious and offensive.
Yeah, no wonder it seems like our administration is supporting them. So my best friend told me that her mom, her aunts, her cousins in Iran, they're stuck at home when they go to the grocery store. They're shaking in fear because huge guards are just waiting for women to show their hair, which is they're not allowed to do in public, just so they could beat them down. Iran's foreign minister told NPR that these protesters won't lead to a regime change. What do you think?
This is a mass terror wave. Iran is a gender apartheid state. It's a criminal regime. It's designated as a state sponsor of terrorism. These people are hostages, not citizens. And unless the West grows a spine and start to stand against these criminal end of world cult members in the Iranian regime, I expect horrific things that are going to take place. I expect mass murders on a large scale.
Okay, you have a lot to say about this. Tell us about your new book, The Secret Apparatus, the Muslim Brotherhood's Industry of Death.
Well, my book came out today. I'm very excited about that. And it's a result of 23 years of militant research into the Muslim Brotherhood cult, which is the founder of ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Hamas, Islamic State, and it is the incubator of terror. It's an indictment to show their connections to transnational terrorism across the world and how they are responsible for millions of deaths and untold misery. What I'm trying to do through this book is take it to the American people so we get them designated as a terror group in the United States.
All right, congratulations on the success of your new book. I think it's the #1 seller on Amazon right now. Cynthia Farahat, you could find out more information on farahat.com. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time today, as always.
Thank you for having me.
You asked for it, and now the wait is almost over. OAN Live is adding video on demand. OAN Live is already the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting national and international headlines. And now, the nation's top-rated primetime political talk shows, investigative reporting, and even more great content will finally be available on demand. Never miss your favorite talk shows again, like Real America with Dan Ball or In Focus with Stephanie Hamill. Plus, in-depth investigative reporting from Pearson Sharp, Chanel Rion, Caitlin Sinclair, and the rest of One America News' all-star investigative reporting team. All available anytime, anywhere. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting and political talk shows One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.